Everybody, this is the behind the scenes of Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, 94.9 FM, 1550 AM. And I'm excited. So I'm pre-recording the show. It's going to air on Sunday, this Sunday at 8 a.m. What is Sunday's date? I don't even know. Mark, what's Sunday's date? The 9th. Okay, thanks, Mark. Mark's in the studio. He's the engineer he's the brains behind it all.
Very
Mark,
good.
how long have I been on the radio now? It's been a minute. This show 8 years, and then I was 4 years on another show as a co-host. So this is my 12th year. Wow. Hear that, Dr. King? My 12th year on the radio. That's super cool. All right, I'm ready. Oh, you know what? Can you get me, did you play Charlene's Black Flash? Can you pull it for me? I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I'll do my regular intro for right now. Okay, thank you. Dr. King going to laugh at me. She's going to tell me I shouldn't play that song.
It's okay.
Charlene is from your area, isn't she?
Charlene.
That's her stage name. Play
Right.
something of her, and then we'll go. She always.
Sorry about that background noise. Do you hear it?
I don't hear it.
Somebody decided to cut their grass.
No, I don't hear it. No, we're good.
You are now tuned in to Today with Pastor Jay on WNZF News Radio, where we discuss inspiring and informative news. And now here's your host, Pastor Jerlyn Denny.
Good morning, wake up. Good morning. What a wonderful and beautiful day it is to be alive. And I am so very excited because I have as my guest none other than the phenomenal Dr. Alveda King. Oh, man. I mean, she has a resume that is absolutely amazing and outstanding. And when I think about who she is, the resume just doesn't even do her justice at all. She is the chair of the AFPI Center for the American Dream. She's a guardian of the King family legacy and is a graduate of Aiden University. She's the founder of Alveda King Ministries. You can go to alvedaking.com for that. And co-founder of She Leads Georgia and Speak for Life. Alveda is also an acclaimed author, television host, blog contributor, and co-producer of the Vision TV show. Alveda was twice elected to the Georgia State House, a presidential appointee, the recipient of the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, senior advisor at Priest for Life, senior advisor for Coral Ridge Ministries, founder of King Legacy Farms, a lifetime member of Cooking Club of America and Optimist International, a former college professor and school principal, and is a film and music veteran. She isn't a stranger to the show. She's been on my show before. And I just want to thank you again for coming on the show again, Dr. King. How are you?
I'm so glad to join the phenomenal Pastor Jay. And we are lights together for Christ, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. So we work together for the Lord, and it's just exciting to join you again.
Well, thank you so very much for being on the show. So much has happened since you've been on the show last. And of course, we're celebrating Black History Month. There's a lot of people that don't think we should celebrate Black History Month. There's nothing to celebrate. I consider myself an American with brown skin. I'm an American. But there are those that say it's important. What do you think?
I believe that it's important to celebrate human history, American history, and there are so many phenomenal aspects of what that is. So we can celebrate women, we can celebrate ethnicity, not human race, because there's one blood, the human race, so there are no separate races. I am so excited. It is February, and even though it's up in the air as to whether we should celebrate Black history or we should not, I was thinking about those phenomenal women in the military, and they were given an impossible assignment, the Black contingency of female soldiers, to sort out millions of pieces of mail and get it back to the soldiers and their families to boost the morale. And it was an impossible task, and they did it. The other one, the Black women who solved the issues of the calculators and gave us the modern technology that we have now with the math, the human calculators. They were black women. Harriet Tubman, for example. And there are so many. I was talking to our friend Alice Johnson, who was incarcerated during an American history, and she was pardoned by President Trump. And she's such a phenomenal person who spiritually now is praying and helping to do so many things. So I believe that there are many accounts in American history, and African Americans were forgotten for too long. So maybe we're just playing a little catch up. That's maybe the way I look at it. Yeah, yeah.
There's been a change of the guard in the White House. Donald Trump is our president, and there's been quite a bit of controversy over that. And people have been saying that he's prejudiced. I don't think that he is prejudiced. I know that President Trump is your friend. You know him personally. Um, do you do you think he's a prejudiced kind of guy? I don't. I mean, I don't know him as well as you, but I don't
Yeah.
see him that way.
Well, President Trump says we all bleed the same. He's not colorblind. He says, he'll say, we're going to be colorblind and not see color. We're going to see content of our character. Well, we could see color. We can see ethnicity. We can celebrate ethnicity, but we are going to be human beings in one blood human race. So when he says we all bleed the same, I know that he gets that and he understands it. And there were so many things that he did during his first administration. He gave relief to the historically black colleges and university who had to come to the White House every year and ask for a little bit of money so they could continue with their housing and all that. And he gave them billions so that they wouldn't have to come back every year. That's just one example. He signed the Martin Luther King Georgia Park into a national park. That's another example. He pardoned so many people, including Alice Johnson, my goddaughter Angela Stanton King. I mean, he's not racist, he's not prejudiced. And so I just happen to know he isn't. Yeah.
It's been quite a bit of controversy over DEI lately. Oh, we need to cancel DEI. Forget affirmative action. Forget all these things. And when you think about judging people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, do we need programs like DEI?
Programs such as DEI seem to be necessary in American history because the discrimination was so severe and so bad. And so we began to do those types of things. My uncle, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., said that we needed to be judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin. And so through various administrations, there were laws that were passed trying to fix that. Human beings will pass human laws, but it's God that works on the human heart. Martin Luther King Jr. said the law may not be able to make you love me, but it can make you not lynch me and not kill me. And so certainly that's how many of those laws came to be, but they have gone so far out now that I know over at the Department of Defense, I guess the decision was made during working hours. We're not going to spend money for parties and celebrations and things like that. Everybody is welcome to celebrate Black history, Pride, Women's history, Latino. There's a whole long line of them. But he says what we're going to do is defend the country and take care of the country 9 to 5. And so we can celebrate certainly anybody that we want to celebrate. The White House put out a beautiful Black History statement in favor of Black History Month. That's out right now. And so the White House has not canceled Black History Month. That's just not even true.
So
So
glad you said that because
yeah,
people been calling me, oh, they canceled Black History Month. I'm like,
absolutely
no,
not.
they have not
Absolutely
canceled. I
not.
don't know where they're getting this foolishness from.
And
There has been no Black History Month being canceled.
with early DEI, Pastor Geraldine, I said, why are they going to only give us 10%? I want 100% like everybody else gets to work for. I want to work for the 100 too, you know? So I'm
I've been
saying,
seeing how DEI have been going to other people,
yeah,
other minority groups. And I don't think people realize that white women is considered a minority group. Also, we have just different LGBTQ, transgender, all those things have been minority groups. So I'm seeing Black Americans going, oh, they're canceling us. They're canceling us. we're on the bottom totem pole now. Black Americans are not the recipients of hardly anything
Pastor
anymore.
Geraldine, can you patch this show because I lost the volume?
I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Lost some of the volume.
Okay, hold on a second. We can patch it, Mark. All right. Can you hear me now? All right. Hold on. She just went out. She'll come back in just a moment. All right. We will get her back in a minute. I could see you and hear you. If you, yeah, just, okay. Okay, no worries. That's why it's pre-recorded, guys. You just don't know what's going to happen. Might be her signal on her end. I'm going to ask this one last question when she comes back on, and then we'll go to a break, Mark, as soon as she comes back in. So I'm going to have, okay, here she goes. Oh, she was there. There she goes. Okay. All right.
If you
I
can
got
just
you.
do a pickup on that
No
question.
worries. I
Yeah,
absolutely can.
I'm sorry.
You can tell she's a producer. She got it going on. She know what to do.
Yeah, I produced it.
Okay. Hold on. Let me get this. Okay, Mark, you ready? All right. So when you look at DEI, Dr. King, for as a Black American, it hasn't really benefited us much. We have white women now are considered a minority group. The LGBT community, IA plus, all of them are minority groups. Even transgender now are minority groups. So when you look at DEI and affirmative action, it hasn't benefited Black Americans for a while now. And people
Right.
are so upset. And I see Black Americans going, oh, they're forgetting about us. We have been forgotten about when you look
Overlooked.
and overlooked for a while.
We have.
Everyone
That's a
else have
good
gotten
point.
into the minority groups.
That's a good point. So we need to do more prayer and make sure that we serve all Americans. And you didn't ask me even about the immigration and the illegal immigrants and everyone. We want to make America stronger and to have compassion and to help everybody. And it's got to start somewhere. So that's why I'm just okay with some of the changes that are being made.
Gotta take a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch the dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. You ready, Mark?
How much more time we got?
How much time I got? 12 minutes, but I'm gonna split that in two.
Okay, let's get it done. I
Okay.
got a little run I've got to make.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go in with that. Ready? Song. You're gonna have to move it to the chorus part. Welcome back to Today with Pastor Jay. And it is Black History Month, and that's Charlene. She's a comedian, but she talks about skin color and how proud she is to be Black. And I have Dr. Alveda King as my guest today. And I've got to ask you, were there a time growing up, I know you're part of the whole King legacy, but was there a time growing up where you did not want to be brown skin?
I wanted to be browner, more brown. Interestingly enough, my grandfather, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Sr., his grandfather, Nathan Branham King, was a Caucasian man from County Cork, Ireland. And my grandma, Mama King's people, came off of the west coast of Africa. And then my mom's daddy, Square Reese, was part Cherokee. So when I was born, my skin, I was even more pale than this, and I had strawberry blonde hair and all of that. So I thought the most beautiful people in the world, and I still think that, my mom, my grandmother, and all of them. So when my two brothers were born, after I was born, they would say, "Ooh, where did they get you from? They must have adopted you or got you from under Iraq. You so ugly." So I didn't like my pale skin. I did not. And I also would shave off, this is called a widow's peak, this V. And I thought they would make jokes about that. That came from the Celtic, Irish, part of it. And I would shave it off because I just thought I was ugly. I thought I was pale and ugly when I was little. So that was my perspective on it. So all this talk about light skin, dark skin, all of that. And I always believed, because when I was little, they would talk about granddaddy, Daddy King, my daddy, Reverend A.D. King, my uncle, M.L., Reverend Martin Luther King. Of one blood, God made all people to live together on the face of the earth. So this fighting over skin color, we're one blood. We are one human race.
I love how you remind us of that because we are one blood, one human race. But when you look at illegal immigration, I'm not talking about immigration, and I have my own viewpoint on it. I have a problem with people committing crimes. When you come
Yeah,
into this country illegally, you're a criminal. That
yeah,
is illegal immigration. And as an American, if I commit a crime, I have to pay the price for that crime. And I remember a couple of years ago, I was speaking with my local sheriff, Sheriff Staley, and he had picked up an illegal immigrant. Well, one was on the side of the road. I got pulled over, and he spoke with them, and his employer came and picked him up, and he let him go. And I said, Sheriff, I said, but what if that was me without a driver's license? What would happen to me? He went, oh, Pastor Jay, you'd go to jail. We'll take you on the jail. And I
that's
went,
true.
you telling me that illegal immigrants have more rights than American citizens?
Yeah. Well, as you look at that, Pastor Jay, one thing I'm working through in my mind, the criminals need to go back. And when President Trump did the first executive orders and shipped a lot of the criminals back to their countries, and so their country didn't want to open up and let them back in, and President Trump put the tariffs down, and so we know all of that happened. So the criminals are a danger and an endangerment to our nation. So people says, well, but they're going into elementary schools now and getting the children of the criminals. Some of them, the mothers are here, the children are here, and they are in schools. And so there, if you arrest the criminal and you send the criminal back, then the family should still go back home because they're illegal as well, not to jail, but they should actually go back home. And some of that is what is happening. So people say, well, that seems to be so cruel. Well, sometimes when things have to be corrected, for instance, say you get a splinter in your foot or your hand, and it begins to get infected. And if you don't get it out, you're going to have to lose the whole limb. So it will hurt to burn that needle, heat it up, stick it into that flesh, and dig that infection out and the splinter. So when you think about this, so these things have to be considered compassionately. The criminals have to go. What is going to happen to their children who are here, and the mothers or the fathers, if the lady's a criminal and the father is not, and the children? Those things are having to be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. But the criminals, and that is the target right now from the White House, those criminals who are killing our children, raping our women, robbing us, taking over, burning our stores. Those criminals honestly do have to go.
There's been, I think people have forgotten about the hundreds of thousands of children that have been trafficked because our borders have been open. There's so
Yeah.
many children that are missing. We
There
don't
were
even know.
300,000 immediately that they could tell were missing. 300,000. About 75,000 of those have been found and rescued so far. So there's a lot of trafficking with the illegal entry into the country. Yeah.
You have quite the resume. Um,
Mhm.
you've done a lot of things. What are
Yeah.
you most proud of?
After my salvation, accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in 1983, being a mother and a grandmother, I can't wait for great grandchildren. That is my joy in this life.
Well, we've got to take another break. Got to pay the bills. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch the dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. We're again, Mark? Okay, you said I got about what, 3 to 4 minutes? Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Back in as soon as I get this thing. Okay. I'm going to give a thank you and a shout out to Church on the Rock and Global Bible College. Thank you so very much for sponsoring today with Pastor Jay. So, Dr. King, you come from, I mean, everyone in your family, your parents, your aunts and uncles, grandparents have all done so many wonderful things. And what do you would like to see? 30 years from now, if you decide to go ahead on and be with Jesus all the way, um, what would you like to see as your standing legacy, really?
You have heard me say that all of my music, all of my books, all of my projects have been to leave a history and a legacy for those generations to come after me. And so the biggest legacy, the most important legacy, is that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, so that whosoever believes on him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son Jesus in the world to condemn the world, but that the world through Jesus might be saved. I have proclaimed that and continue to in every way I can think of. And I tell it to my children and their children. I pray that they will tell it to their children and their children's children. And so this will go on for generations. That's the most important message that I have ever proclaimed in my whole life.
As we're getting ready to wind up the show, I've got to ask, because I ask all my guests during Black History Month, do you have a Black History hero? I know you named a few people at the beginning, but growing up, was there someone that you looked up to?
My favorite hero is a heroine, Harriet Tubman. I love Harriet Tubman for so many reasons. Mary McLeod Bethune, I guess, and Madam C.J. Walker, all of those, and certainly the women in my family. Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. I want to count you as one of my heroes,
Thank
if I
you.
can do that. And God
And you're
bless
one
you.
of mine too, Pastor Jay. You are too.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that. God bless you. All right, guys, you know what I say? Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't promised. What are you going to do today? I'm going to encourage you to do what Dr. King said. Why don't you get to know Jesus Christ personally as your Lord and Savior? God bless you. Have a wonderful day. That's it. Thanks, Dr. King. That's good, Mark. We good? All right.
Thank
That was
you.
great. I appreciate it. Love you.
Enjoy doing it. Like I say, some things that I'm going